Hello, this is Kade and this is Airline Enterprise, a airline management simulation game which you can play in your web browser. It is currently in development still, so it's a bit of a mix between alpha and beta. Certain things are fairly done, but there are also some features that are still missing. For this tutorial, it's going to be a two-part tutorial. The first part is just going to include the basics, like how do you create your airline, how do you buy your airplane, how do you configure it, how do you make a route, where do you find certain things. It's really the basics. In the second part, we will be looking more at some strategy options and how you can probably best make use of what is available to you in order to make the most revenue or the most reputation or whatever you're after in the game. So to start off with creating your airline, well, after you make your account, of course, you're going to end up here. Here you need to create your airline. Now, if you don't know where you want to base your airline, you can do some research on airports. You can click on this link over here and you will go for a research page. See, here you can find all the airports that are in the game. Keep in mind some airports, especially smaller ones, may still be missing, but they can be suggested, they can be added, but most airports that you would need are in the game right now. You can select them by country if you want, and you can just choose, look at them. Bangladesh, go. And sometimes I just want to be annoying. There we go. You have 3 airports in Bangladesh, and you can see like the runway lengths, how many passengers this calls for you, how many people you're gonna get in out of your airport for demands, and some other basic stuff. Now you will need a name for your airline. An IATA code, so this is your 2 or 3 letter code for your airline. Call signs. This is all just whatever you want, really. You can fully go RP on it, of course. You're role playing, so you want to keep everything realistic, or you can just go crazy. Now you want to say which country you want to be based, the city within the country, and then the airport. Final choice is in your starting funds. You can choose to start with more higher funds, but you have to pay more interest. Or you can start with less, you pay less interest. It's really a choice, whatever you want. For the purpose of the tutorial, we're just going to go with the maximum. And then create your airline. There you go. You have now created your airline. You have under your Manage Airline, your airline overview. This is the main window. That's what I generally put my bookmark towards. Here you have pretty much an overview of everything that you would need to know about your airline. So you get your basic information, your average net operational income over the last 7 days, your 24-hour revenue, your flights that are currently in the air or soon to be departing, your lease cost, your fleet information will be displayed here, your gates are displayed over here. So all a bit of the basic info. What else we can find is your fleet. You can go for your fleet overview. So here, if you have aircraft, it will just be listed all your aircraft in the fleet. You can purchase aircraft. This would be for buying a new aircraft. So say I want to buy an Airbus, I don't know, A380. Let's go for the big one. We'll show you here the list price. It will give you some of the basic data on the aircraft. You can click on configure. And here you can pretty much order it. You can choose the amount. If you order in quantities of 5, 10 and then upwards to 20, you get some discounts, which can be fairly substantial. So if you can do large orders, can come out and play. You can choose how much you want to pay up front and how much you want to pay upon delivery. And you select where you want them delivered and you can buy them. If you're buying or leasing new aircraft, the first 5 are instant. After that, you have to keep into mind with the lead time. The lead time is only once. So if I buy these 20 A380s, the first one will take 34.7 days plus 17.4 days to be delivered. Every next one, second one, will be after 17.4 days. If the order is ongoing and you add additional planes to that order, it will keep on going. It will just add them in the build time. But if your order has final, and the last plane has been delivered, and you make a new order, you will have to take into account again these 34.7 days. Alternatively to buying, you can lease your aircraft. It's pretty much the same deal. However, instead of outright buying them, you're leasing them. So it'll show you here your monthly lease cost, the same basic information. Again, you can configure them and you can choose the amounts. Same deal as when you're buying planes. The more planes you're gonna get, the cheaper they're gonna be each month. For the planes you get, you need to pay the first week of leases immediately. So you're paying that right now up front. And you select also the lease term. The longer the term, the cheaper they're gonna be. There's one thing you do need to keep in mind. If you take a look at lease aircraft, I'm not sure if it shows you this here. There you go, yeah. Your credit rating. In this case, when you start out, you always start at the CCC+, which means you can only have 2.5 million in outstanding aircraft leases. So like 1,380 is your entire budget for leases. Alternatively to the new aircraft, you can also go to the used aircraft market. And used aircraft, if they are from the broker, which are automatically generated, you can just click on a few details and you have the options to both purchase or lease them. So it's pretty much the same, only this time there are no discounts, keeping account it's an instant delivery. And it's an instant delivery on the location where the plane is, so always check that, especially with shorter range planes. You can see here I can purchase it for 20.5 million or I can lease it for 250k a month. It also shows you the maintenance cost, so this is the per flight maintenance cost and your per flight insurance cost. So the used aircraft market is absolutely a brilliant feature because as I said, these planes, if I'm buying this plane here, I'm buying it and it's instantly available for me in Indonesia. So if I need it somewhere else, I would need to fly it over there, but you have it instantly. With the used planes, you're always waiting. So downside, of course, older planes, more maintenance. And generally, if you're buying literally the older planes, higher fuel burns. But you can see the used market tends to be really well stocked. And some of these planes are also sold by airlines currently in the game, which are just like, you know what, I bought this plane, but I don't really want them, so they're dumping them. And you can find planes from the early jet age and to current modern day. Finally, if you buy an aircraft, you need to configure the cabins, so the amount of seats you have and the quality. To do this, you create cabin configurations. You can create as many as you want. Make sure you select the right airplane. So if we stick to our flying whale team, select this one. You would select which types of seats you want. The reasoning why you want to have the higher seats is for your reputation. The higher class of seat, the more reputation you will gain. And right now that's just a number between 0 and 100%. However, that system will be changed, at which point your reputation is just per flight and they will take an average and that will be your airline reputation in a star rating system. So having higher end seats generally means a higher star rating, which means you have more demand, which means you can charge higher prices for them. Of course, higher quality seats cost more money and they take also more space in the aircraft. So it's a balancing act. So let's just pick everything on the standard for a moment. They also have the choice of adding headphones, AC power and USB power. You can select this per seat class. And you have entertainment options. You can choose the screen sizes, quality and which type of shows are available. Now very cheap stuff which has been out for ages or the latest and greatest. There we go, you know, you have it right there. So, oh, the new Marvel movie came out and you're flying and you can watch it on the airplane. Keep in mind this costs you per flight. You're being charged for supplying this. Of course you can also charge passengers for it again. But something to keep in mind. And all of these costs, so the seat cost plus your entertainment cost plus all of these costs are per seat. So if I'm installing 100 seats, I am already starting to pay 1.5 million or something like that, and plus this and that. So the cost of seats is going really, really high. So keep that in mind when you're creating your cabin configurations, that you can actually afford to install your cabin configurations. Finally, you have the option to equip the plane with Wi-Fi. Again, you can charge for this. And also with an aircraft bar. You can also charge for the drinks, but seats generally will make you more money, but the aircraft bar again will earn you some reputation. And you can give the configuration a name. Then you can save it. And here you start to fill out the seats that you want on board. So you say like, I want 12 of these, I want 30 of these, I want 60 of these, and I don't know, I want 350 of these. And I still got seat slots over, so I can add some more or I can subtract. And you can charge what you want for, if you want to charge people for the in-flight entertainment, or if you have a bar, you want to charge them for the drinks, or if the Wi-Fi, you want to charge them for the Wi-Fi, you can all select it over here. But as you can see here, like this configuration, which is not even completely full, will already cost you 13 million to install, so keep that in mind. So that covers your planes. Next up, your planes need to go places, and that's where the route system comes into play. So you can go to your route management. Sometimes the game is just a little bit slow. And here you can create routes. Routes, you say your departure time. You can add as many stops as you want. Just keep in mind, a route may not be more than 48 hours total in flight time. And ideally you want to keep them, you want to make sure your routes run in a way that your plane spends as little time as possible on the ground. Just like in real life, you want to make money, and you only make money when planes are flying. So you can just fill in your destinations like this, and onwards you can go. You can say create routes. No, we don't have any plane, so we really can't do anything yet. But we have the route here. We can assign a plane to it, and then we can see what the times are going to be, etc. So when you make your routes, ensure that you spend as little time on the ground as possible. But that's how you create a route over here. This is just following active flights. Flight numbers can be interesting. It will automatically configure them, but you can also, if you have flights running, you can select prices that you can enter per flight in here. Alternatively, you can just set your ticket prices right here. These are the default prices. The maximum possible price you can charge is 3 times the default price, so keep that in mind. You can never charge more than 3 times the default price of any flight. Finally, also need gates. If you're gonna fly to an airport, you will need a gate there. So you start off with one gate at your home base airport, which is a dedicated gate, so you're paying a weekly cost for it. Alternatively, if you're gonna lease gates, you have 2 choices. If it wants to work. There we go. You got 2 choices. You can make a dedicated gate again. You're paying per week. If you do it for longer periods, you get a bit of a discount. Or you can go with a shared gate. Simple rule of thumb, if you fly to a gate 10 times or more a week, then you want a dedicated gate. If it is less, then you want a shared gate. That's going to be the cheapest option. Also, benefit of shared gates is you can cancel them for free. Whereas if you cancel dedicated gate, you're going to be paying 25% of the remainder of the lease cost. The same goes with leased aircraft. Then you have your financial overviews. So this is your ledgers, but one of the nicer ones is the income statement. This will show you your incomes, your costs and everything, and will show you, what your profit margin is, what your net operating income is, what your net income is, and all of those things. It's a good way to keep an eye on your airline's financials. Then we also have loan management. You can see here, this is my current loan, the interest I'm paying on it, the amount of interest that I've accumulated, and well, if I have paid off any loans, that would come down in here. And this is how many loans I can still take. You can see you have a limit both in loan amounts and in credit limit citations. So in my case, I could choose to borrow another 10 million at 9% APR, and that would be my absolute maximum. As your credit rating goes up, your credit limit goes up as well, of course. And credit rating will go seem really low and bouncy in your first 7 days. After that, will start to stabilize a little bit, and just relevant towards your assets, towards your income, the airline age, and some other features. There is a document you can find on the forums to calculate it in precision. We also have your employees, because people want to get paid. And while you see it at the default hourly pay, most people are really not that happy, so you get quite a bit of attrition. Each time you need to train new staff, you need to pay for new staff training, which can be quite expensive. So I tend to say, just try to avoid having attrition. But it is again a choice you want to make. If you don't want to spend as much on your staff, you don't spend as much on your staff. Choice is all yours. And finally, we have infrastructure. This is your headquarters. You always need to make sure you have enough capacity for all the people that work there. So it's fairly simple. If you need more, then you manage and you upgrade. So that's everything under your Manage Airline. The other tab that's interesting is your Research tab. Now for research, airports are very interesting, which we've shown you before when you started to make it. World map is not that useful. Aircraft can be nice if you want to take a look at all of the aircraft available. And here you can compare all the statistics, so the range, the runway requirements, the cruising speeds, the fuel burns, the maintenance costs, etc., etc. So this is a good way if you are not too familiar with the aircraft. You have to say okay, maybe I want this aircraft or I want that aircraft. We'll go into detail on which ones are really good in the next tutorial. Then we have the route research, which is probably one of the most important features in the game. And the reason for that is you can research routes. So say I want to fly from AMS to JFK, I'm flying at the default prices and my current reputation stands at 10%. How many people would want to fly with me? Well, this is the estimated performance on this flight. It says I've got a low competition on the economy, premium economy and business, but a moderate competition on first class. My reputation is poor because it's very low. My prices are competitive in economy, but they're average on everywhere else. And if I want to take a look here, I see that Delta Airline Incorporated is flying from John F. Kennedy to Amsterdam 9 times a week currently. So that's my direct competition. You can play around with the prices down here, just unselect these boxes. You can play around with reputation and just see what works for you. Alternatively, if you try to find out what airports are within range of a certain plane, you can use the distance calculator. Just go with your basic airport, from where you want to fly, select the distances between what you want to fly, and you can get a list of airports within that range. Again, when it wants to work. Sometimes you need to reload the pages, it's just the server getting a little bit hammered. But that's all of the basics for your airline enterprises. So you can buy your planes, configure them, set up a route and get going. For the next installment, we will be actually doing all of these things. So we are going to research our routes, we're going to select the planes that we want to operate, and we're going to configure the planes with the right configurations and ensure it is as optimized as possible. So if you want to know all of those details, tune in for that one. If you just wanted to know how you could get started and where you can find things, this should have got you completely covered. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was informative to you, and I hope you join us on the forums and on the Discord server of Airline Enterprise. We are quite a fun bunch of people, so see you there.